It was supposed to be a night of celebration, laughter, and the promise of a new beginning. But that New Year's Eve turned into a nightmare I'll never forget. Even now, as I recount this, my hands tremble and my heart races. My name is Ryan. I was 24 at the time and had just moved to a small, quiet town for work. I didn't know many people there, so when a neighbor invited me to a New Year's Eve gathering at an old manor on the outskirts of town, I thought it would be a great way to meet others and start the year on a high note. Little did I know, that decision would change everything. The manor was infamous among locals, though no one ever told me exactly why. It was a towering, Gothic structure that looked like it had been plucked from a horror movie. I arrived just before midnight, greeted by dim lights flickering in the windows and the distant echo of music. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of burning wood and something faintly metallic that I couldn't quite place. About 20 people were there, most of them strangers to me. The party was lively at first, with laughter and clinking glasses filling the grand hall. But as the clock approached midnight, the energy shifted. Conversations dwindled, and an eerie silence settled over the room. That's when the host, a man named Victor, proposed a New Year tradition, a game. Victor explained that the game involved drawing lots to determine who would venture into the manor's basement to retrieve a special artifact before midnight struck. A chill ran down my spine, but everyone else seemed intrigued. Reluctantly, I played along, and as fate would have it, I drew the short straw. Armed with nothing but a flashlight, I descended the creaking stairs into the basement. The air grew colder with each step, and the metallic scent intensified. The flashlight flickered as if it struggled against an unseen force. When I reached the bottom, I was greeted by rows of dusty shelves and cobweb-covered furniture. In the center of the room stood a pedestal, and on it lay a small, ornate box. As I approached the box, the room seemed to close in on me. My breathing quickened, and I felt an overwhelming sense of being watched. Against my better judgment, I opened the box. Inside was a key, old and rusted, but otherwise unremarkable. Suddenly, the door behind me slammed shut with a deafening bang, and the flashlight went out completely. I froze, engulfed in darkness. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the faint sound of whispering. The voices grew louder, circling me, though no one was there. I fumbled for the flashlight, and when it flickered back on, I saw them. Shadowy figures, barely human, their eyes glowing faintly in the dark. They stood motionless, surrounding me. Panic took over. I clutched the key and sprinted towards the door, but it wouldn't budge. The figures began to move, their whispers turning into guttural growls. I screamed, pounding on the door, until finally, it flew open, and I tumbled back into the stairwell. The figures didn't follow, but their growls echoed in my ears as I scrambled upstairs. When I burst back into the hall, the partygoers were gone. The grand hall was empty, the decorations torn, and the music replaced by an eerie, intermittent static. Midnight had struck, but the clock's chime was distorted, as if it were underwater. I stumbled outside, desperate for air, only to find my car was gone, and the manor was surrounded by dense fog. Victor's voice called out from the fog, calm and chilling. "The key is yours now, Ryan. Good luck." I ran. I don't know how long or how far, but eventually, I found myself on the main road, flagged down a passing car, and begged the driver to take me to town. When I looked back, the manor was gone. Locals later told me no one had lived there for decades. To this day, I don't know what I unleashed that night, but I've never used that key. It sits in a locked drawer, a grim reminder of the horror I experienced. I can't explain what happened, but every New Year's Eve since, I hear faint whispers and feel the shadows closing in. If you've ever experienced something unexplainable or terrifying, share your story in the comments below. Maybe together, we can uncover the truth behind these mysteries.